So I'm going to start today's video just a little bit different than I normally do. I'm going to review a rod that I've been throwing for 2.5 years now, and I've been really pleased with the results that I've gotten with them. And I just wanted to share with you guys my experiences with them and what I think of them and what I use mine for. If you're in the market for your first bait finesse rod that's more bass specific, these very well could be the ones for you. So the rods I'm talking about are the Dobyns Sierra series. There's 6 different models. There's a 650C, 690C, 691, a 701, a 700C, and a 740C. And if you notice, if there's a 1 at the end of the model number, it's more of a fast action rod. And if there's a 0, it's more of a moderate action rod. I've been throwing the 740C the longest. It's the very first BFS rod that I ever bought. And the applications that I use mine for, since the 701 is more of a fast action rod, I'm typically throwing really small jigs and non-exposed hook techniques on it. But these rods are light duty and very, very, very skinny at the tip. So I have thrown a little bit of everything on the 701C. It might excel the most at bottom contact baits, but I have thrown little crankbaits on it. I've thrown little swim baits on it, and it handles all of that just fine. If you're looking for a rod to have a little more leverage on the fish and to get a little bit more distance on your casting, the 740C is a really good option. And honestly, it's probably a toss-up between these two models right here on which two are my favorite. I love my 701, but I also really love that 740, mostly for the casting distance aspect. And that 740 is very versatile. It has an extra fast tip on it, and it still has quite a bit of meat in the blank. And so I can actually throw little spin jigs on it if I want, but more commonly I'm throwing exposed hook techniques on it, like swim baits and crankbaits on this rod, and even some little topwater baits. That's what I really like that 740C to make those long casts. And the 700C is one that I picked up just because it was on sale for like $140. And in terms of what these normally run, guys, you're gonna see them for $189 pretty much across the board from all the retailers. But what I use my 700 for, since it's more moderate action, I've turned it into a really good chatterbait setup. And I also like throwing a little bit bigger crankbaits on it as well. In terms of big, we're not talking big, we're talking like a 1/4 ounce and down. In terms of ratings on these rods, 2 to 8 pound line on all of them, 1/16 to 5/16 ounce on the weight of baits, or 1.5 to 8 grams. These rods have plenty of meat in the base of the blank to help redirect big fish away from cover, but at the same time, the tips on those rods are probably way skinnier than even the lightest spinning rod that you have in your boat, especially if you're more of a bass specific guy. And the real reason why I like them so much is they're insanely sensitive. If the bite gets tough and I'm looking for a rod to tie like a little 1/16 ounce bait on and just go to town, those are the rods that I'm going to turn to. And another thing that's good about those Sierra rods, I'll be completely honest with you, I've broken this 740 before just by kneeling on the base of it when I was on my paddleboard. Completely my fault. But they have a good warranty deal to where if you take it to a local Dobyns dealer, they'll ship it to Dobyns for free. And then if it's your fault, you have to pay like a $50 to $60 replacement fee. But if the rod malfunction is on them, they'll replace it to you on the house, ship it back to you, and you'll have your rods pretty dang quick. I had mine within like 2 days of sending it back, so I was really happy about that. And just for clarity as well, I am not endorsed by Dobyns. I don't get any kickbacks from Dobyns. Honestly, they really haven't ever even reached out to me, even though I've reached out to them several times. But I really like their product, and I think that if you guys are in the market for a good quality BFS rod, and if you're just gonna get one to try to do everything, those are really hard to beat at that $190 price point.